Yeah, okay. And welcome to Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison alongside Erika Fernandez. Thank you for stopping by on the show today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I understand that what you been up to lately?
I've actually been up to journaling somehow. A friend of mine motivated me to journal and write down your feelings, draw. Been doing a lot of coloring, so I feel like you kind of need a little bit of distraction as opposed to trying to just watch a whole bunch of shows, movies, stay away from social media at times for mental health. And in the mix of it, somehow I've been working out in the four walls that I'm here confined to. How about you? What have you been up to?
Just been doing some journalism work. I mean, some stuff for my podcast. I've had some episodes. I've done some FaceTime interviews. The last couple episodes, I've done some IGTV interviews. So right now, I'm doing a Skype interview for the very first time, as you can see.
Cool. I'm happy to
Yeah.
hear.
And I understand that you left Black Sports Online. Now you're working with new publications. Why don't you give a little bit about that?
Of course. Well, my time with Black Sports Online came to an end, but I'm really happy that I got a lot of knowledge, learned a lot. Very happy that I can walk away and say that I'm happy with everything that I accomplished there. I'm working with Quick Out the Blocks, and that is a website owned by Sheena Marie. And Sheena Marie is based out of North Carolina. She is absolutely amazing. She inspires me, and I don't know if you guys have known, but she works with the Carolina Panthers, and she's done stuff with NASCAR as well as Big Three, and she's just building a name for herself, and I'm so proud of it. I'm really happy to be a part of it. To be honest with you, she's great.
Yeah. And I know this. Yeah. What, like what inspired you? What like it's just a lot to take in when you work with people like Shanae, like like
That's Sheena Marie.
Sheena Marie. I keep calling her Sheena, my bad. But yeah, the NBA is back. What went through your mind when you saw that the NBA is back with 22 teams that are either in the playoffs or going for a playoff spot, and the schedule leading all the way up until October 12th, which is the last possible date to finish the season, and then you get back at it on December 1st.
Yeah. My first thoughts were definitely, I hope that it works. I'm trying to be positive, hoping for not a second wave to hit us because it'll just derail everything all over again. But I'm actually really excited. I love the fact that it's going to be 5 to 6 games a day. So this means we're going to be glued to the TVs, watching nothing but ball, which is amazing because we've just been deprived for the past 3 weeks. Even though UFC is back, I don't really count that as sports coming back, as terrible as that sentence sounds. I feel like I need that fan atmosphere, and seeing those arenas that were really empty, it was weird to me. And I know that NFL and NBA are saying that they're probably going to be using announcements from Madden. I'm sorry, not announcements, fan simulations, so fake cheering, so to speak. Um, just it's about a month and a half away now, and I just hope that they stay on track. It's going to be great. From what they're predicting, because of the warm weather, it doesn't really hit warm weather places, but let's just see. We just have to see and wait.
Yeah, and we're finally going to get to see how far the Lakers and how far the Milwaukee Bucks go with the way they progress throughout the regular season. Like it's just amazing. And we're finally going to get to see how far Brooklyn could go without KD and Kyrie playing this season. And
Yep.
what was your thoughts on Kyrie and Kyrie sitting out the rest of the season, even with it coming back due to the pandemic?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I don't see anything wrong with it. At the end of the day, you got to protect yourself as an athlete. You're an investment in yourself. You're getting paid to play. So I don't blame them for just sitting it out just because it's what, a few games. And they're probably just going to keep on. If anything, I wouldn't doubt that they're not going to be part of the team practices just to get them back into the rhythm. And knowing how strict and disciplined they are, they're probably been practicing for the past 3 months, going hard at the gym and not, not getting off the physical training. I'm sorry, the physical therapy. But it goes back to also Damian Lillard. He said he's just going to sit out the season if they end up playing. And obviously, they made a decision. So I don't blame him for thinking that way because you have to protect yourself first. You're an investment.
Yeah, and a lot of players are finding ways to protect themselves while still being able to play on the court because you can't keep the sports world shut down forever. You just can't. Especially with what's been going on with the Black Lives Matter protests throughout the week and a half. out of respect for not just George Floyd, but all the African Americans that had been the victim of police brutality. Like when you see all those protests and the video that you watched, that's a George Floyd's passing. What went through your mind with everything?
Yeah, well, honestly, I decided not to watch it. I think that it was enough with watching the screenshots of the officer on top of his neck. But I think I was so mentally and emotionally scarred from Eric Garner's video, and that to me broke my heart. I remember I was still living at home, and we were watching it on the news, and I was just crying. And my parents, like, we had a good conversation about it. And that older generation, as much as they can say, they're like, there's not all bad cops. I'm sorry, not all cops are bad. We just have to be positive and make sure that we try to make changes in the community. But to see it happening over and over again, there are no changes happening. So I'm happy to see people spreading knowledge, letting us know what to read, what to watch, where to donate, because we really need to educate ourselves, change the makeup of the office, because there's so many executives that are white. There's not any, at the same time, there are probably not even any black executives in many places of work, and barely any black and Hispanic employees. So I'm happy that the protests are happening. I'm not even upset about the looting, to be honest with you. If you have to fight, use it. I'm not mad at that. I will gladly donate to bail bonds to help people get out.
Yeah, that would be interesting. When you see the news, you see a lot of people looting and destroying things. That
Yeah,
just shows you how angry they are that people are not doing anything to fight against police brutality.
exactly. You nailed it. And the only thing that did piss me off is we shouldn't be attacking our own communities. Like, I'm sure you saw it, the looting that happened on Fordham Road. That
Yeah,
got
yeah,
me, because I grew up in an area, so I know that the area is black and Hispanic. That's it. They're all small business owners that are still paying rent for their apartments, and they're still trying to reach the quote unquote American dream. And to see these little mom and pop shops looted, go go to Soho, stay in Soho, stay in the rich neighborhoods, affect those people more, because those people aren't feeling it as much as we are. So if that's my 2 cents on where you should be looting, that's probably where I'll be guiding people. Don't loot in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are already suffering enough as it is.
yeah. It's just sad. But they did manage to loot like the 34th Street area. Like for example, they loot the Macy's, they loot doing Reed, they loot a lot of the pricey areas as well. And it's not easy living in 34th Street. Heck, it's not easy living in any part of New York City. But this is basically a sports show. What do you mind when you saw the NFL doing the video message fighting against police brutality?
Well, I'm really happy. Sorry if there's noise. The planes are going back and forth. Just letting you know. I live between LaGuardia and JFK. Um, I was actually really happy that all the players got together, and it was beautiful to see. And I want to say it wasn't pushed by the NFL. I think that they all came together on their own and did it. But as far as Roger Goodell's video is concerned, I'm a little annoyed, and for lack of a better term, only because I'm just so frustrated because there wasn't this type of support for Colin Kaepernick years ago. So all of a sudden now we're realizing that every single company is putting out a beautiful PR statement, but not putting any money behind it, spending money to hire blacks and Hispanics in the offices. No, it just chill. Your time. I think that it's very hypocrite. If anything, I don't think it's genuine at all.
Yeah. I mean, they have to because it shows that the sports athletes, are very supportive and understand what the black community is going through. But I am a little disappointed that they had to burn that. Well, I am disappointed that they, in response to the killing of George Floyd, that not the athletes, but the regular people, but excuse me, the people involved with the protest had to go and destroy the neighborhood because they paid a lot of money just to even get those buildings created.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so disappointing.
No, it is across the board. And even though we want to say we are supportive of the protests and everything, a little part of us, we're like, damn, these people are really looting though. But then if they have to show their frustration somehow, show it. So I feel like we're all between the sword and the wall. We don't really know how to support, but we just want to support and make sure that law enforcement goes through a reform, defund the police if that's what it is. Because I've been looking at a lot of numbers all week, and It's just crazy to see how the fiscal year, these budgets just jump from one number to the next one, and they're taken away from our communities. That's why we're not even able to have a season school. That's why our our nursing staff and medical staff, period, they didn't even have PPEs, the proper PPEs, but yet cops were properly shielded. So you can't help but just be a devil's advocate in that moment and say, all right, so who matters more?
Yeah, black people are just as important. Like, look at the color. Like, come on, man. We're more we're just as important as other races across the nation.
Yeah.
People, but a lot of there's a lot of people don't want to see that, and that's why we're still in a predicament that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Now, Hunt. Now, another serious topic we have to get into the fact that MLB rejected the 114 season proposal, but they prefer 50 to 60 games.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Would you take a shorter season or a season of at least 114 games?
The baseball fan in me wants 114 games, but realistically speaking, and thinking about their timeline, because pitchers and catchers showing up, and where will the World Series end and be scheduled for their time off, I think the 50 to 60 game makes much more sense. But I was seeing tweets over the week, and they're talking about the business side of things, and I've been into business side of things for sports for the past couple years, and they're saying that if there is no season this year, that it's going to take even longer, or probably MLB won't even be able to recover from the losses, because it took 5 years for the league to recover from the 94 strikeout, which I didn't know about. So I started doing some more digging, and I said, damn, while I'm on the side for the union, I support unions all the time, but just can't help but wonder what's going to happen. And then I know that both sides want to play ball. Like, that's for sure. They want to get back into the field. There's not going to be fans allowed, which sucks. But at the end of the day, I would love for them to come back. But you know what? If the Players Association feels that their players aren't getting represented and treated fairly, then don't come back. It's just like any union would work.
Yeah, at least you get the Korean Baseball Association. I don't know if you managed to see at least a couple of the Korean baseball games that have been going on. I mean, I've seen highlights. That league is pretty impressive. But you know what? I'd rather watch a game with no fans than no games at all, because at least you're getting games to watch. You're getting something to watch on TV. And I
Yeah.
like how the ESPN play-by-play guys, they managed to do play-by-play and watching the games from home. I like the way they do that because it just shows that they're very active and doing work for ESPN even during this difficult time.
Hmm. I'm right there with you. They're making it work somehow. I feel like even podcasts are booming because people have nothing to do. We're listening to stuff, we're watching more videos, we're more on our phones. So, all right, pick up your Wi-Fi speed, call up your company, and ask for a new package or something. Might as well get your get your consummation for sports somewhere.
Yeah. And speaking of confirmation for sports, we just weeks removed from the ending of the Michael Jordan documentary. What are
Yeah,
your impressions about it? Like just months after we talked about it the first time.
yeah. I really liked it. I think that even though it was rushed in editing, it was beautifully made. I love how they even sprinkled in some stuff from his MLB career stint, rather. And who knows? I keep thinking about it. Terry Francona really believed in him. Had he gotten those amount of at bats, imagine he probably would have been in the league somewhere. So would we have gotten him back from '96 season? Who knows? But then the strike happened, so everything works in mysterious ways. So it just wasn't meant to be. But at least he could say he tried. I love how they even included stuff from the flu game. But the one thing I definitely disagreed with him, and it has nothing to do with the documentary, it's more the sentiment thing. He said that after the documentary, he said we're gonna end up hating him, and I watched the entire documentary with that in my mind. So I said, you know what? I definitely don't hate him because he was just so disciplined. He wanted everyone to put it 1,000% and then some more. So I love that he was just really all about winning, and he was not going to take your half ass effort for anything. So um the other part that I really liked about it was, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened with my phone really quickly, but the other part I really liked about it was the Steve Kerr talking about his father. I didn't know too much about that. I know he lost his father, but I didn't know the drastic ways. And that was great to see that connection. But I also looked at the Nielsen ratings for it, and people were really tuning in. People were loving this, and everyone was talking about it. It was topics for days on social media, the memes for days, if anything, because now we have a new fresh batch of Jordan memes.
Yeah, Michael Jordan really meant a lot to the whole NBA culture. Well, not just the NBA culture, but the sports culture and the world culture as well. It just goes to show that anybody can do anything if you just keep trying.
I agree. Hard work always, always, always pays off. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, this has really been a tough year. And speaking of tough years, if Kobe Bryant was still alive, how do you think he would have impacted the Black Lives Matter in the 2020s or
Well,
2020 in general?
I think both him and his wife, along with the girls, would have been out there because it hits his household double. You know, he's a black man, she's Latina, so they probably both would have been out there, making more awareness, trying to spread more knowledge. It's still unfortunate. It's still weird to even say that he passed away because this has just been a weird year. Right? Like I just think about it, and like you keep saying it, I'm like, he's right. This has just been a tough year across the board from everybody, and I can't even think about it not hurting anybody. Like if you haven't been affected by 2020, you live under a rock, I assume. Because even the Amish are out here fighting for George Floyd and they have no TVs. So how do they find out? So that just goes to
Yeah,
how 2020 is impacting everybody's life.
yeah. Impact. Yeah, 2020 really affected me as an individual because because nearly a year ago I was one of the only two black people in the Ford PMA program.
That's crazy, man.
In the Ford PMA program. Yes, the same Ford that's on the flag behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a lot to take in. I mean, 1 year later, I'm still striving to trying to make a name for myself in the sports journalism field.
No, and you will. It's just about utilizing your skills, utilizing social media. Like social media has been such a big tool for me to get ahead in my career. And I just think back about it. Obviously, I'm late. I was laid off from the zone, but that this is the first time that I'm really at a standstill, especially with COVID hitting, that I could look back and reflect on my almost 7 year career and say, wow, I've actually done a lot. And even if it's just one little event, it's still an event that I attended to and I was able to be there. So we're able to always talk to people that are looking to work in sports and don't ever give up because an opportunity won't show itself and you never know who's watching. Is what I love to tell people. Always stay present in the topic, always stay connected and everything.
Yeah, and not to mention how you and I got connected at the Bleacher Report International Women's Day events. Like when you're sitting here watching these panelists at the International Women's Day events, what went through your mind?
It was beautiful to see and I love that it was actually a diverse set of women. And it's crazy to see that not much has really changed in terms of their fight because we're also still fighting for the same changes. But it's great that all those women use their voices to not shut up and not to quote the rude box reporter, not just shut up and dribble, but they are using their voice to fight. They're using their voice to empower women to share their journey and share how they got to where they are today. And even still, I'm sure that there's a lot more that they want to accomplish a part of their career. I love that some of them were moms. Like how do they handle being a wife and a mother and then still wanting to build a name for yourself? That was also beautiful to hear from a few of the panelists. Um, but it just inspired me, and I'm really happy that they had this sort of public event, but not really so public. And it was just great to just be a part of it. And obviously, get to meet you and other people and interact and just feel like we need to hear each other's journey in order to really move forward and progress.
Yeah, and I was also glad to have a chance to meet up with Ariel Chalmers, who actually works at Bleacher Report. I've had a chance to interview her for my podcast last year. Now look where she is. She's doing an amazing job. She's interviewing recording artists. She's interviewing NBA players. She just stands out as an inspiration. I mean, she worked from the ground up. She got discovered, and now look where she is.
I agree. And she's big. She's always voicing her opinion. She never lets anyone try to steer her direction. I'm sorry, steer her in the wrong direction. I love it. She has a great attitude.
Yeah, and and we all have great attitude. And this pretty much comes to the end of the episode. Nothing but that sports talk. Thank you by Erika Fernandez for Rafique Louison again.
And
To all the big balls out there and protesters, get your head in the game.